I'd like to call this meeting to order. Welcome to the City of Laredo Max A. Mandel Golf Course Advisory Committee meeting. Wednesday, September 18th at the Laredo International Airport room, second floor, 5210 Bob Bullock, Laredo, Texas, 12 p.m. for the following items of business. I've called the meeting to order. Can I have roll call? Ruth, can you announce who's here and who's not?
Yes, sir. Mr. Bruno Slight,
Here.
Roberto Mancha,
Here.
Ricardo Garza,
Here.
Luis Peregrin, Gary Jacobs, Joe Garza,
Here.
Jose Antonio Martinez, Arnaldo Jesus Lozano, Joaquin Rodriguez,
Here.
Juan J. Gomez, he's on his way. Just text me. Dennis Gutierrez.
Here.
Okay. We just don't have Mr. Pellegrin, Mr. Jacobs, Mr. Garza, Mr. Martinez. Mr. Lozano, he switched jobs, so now he doesn't work for Webb County. He works for the city manager's office, so he has to check is it a conflict of interest being part of the committee, so he's gonna let me know for the next meeting.
Okay, good, good. But for the
And Mr.
most part,
Gomez
right
is
now,
on
we
his
meet,
way.
we meet quorum, right? Thank you. Okay, we're gonna move up item, one of the items so that we can get this gentleman to, or explain and go through their processes first. The other ones seem to be by order of, I guess by order of importance. So we're gonna get a presentation from the ongoing, Las Islas subdivision presentation. Sorry about that. Go ahead, man.
My name is Casey Poole. I don't know most of you guys. I've met the golf course manager, and I know Barnoff from working here in Laredo. But we have a heavy civil contracting firm here in Laredo. Pretty much, if you guys have been up Mines Road before the golf course, the Pinnacle Industry Center, we've done everything in there that's been done for Kurt Krause over the last 3.5 years. We work for John Valla, Park Avenue Construction on a bunch of his projects, and have a presence in Laredo in the site work. Manuel and I have been friends for a couple of years, and he brought the deal to me in regards to building a subdivision on the golf course. And we're putting it into the works. Phase 1 is gonna have 24 lots. Phase 2 will have 22 lots, and we have other phases planned if phase 1 and phase 2 are successful. I guess the main thing we need from the community and from you guys is to get the word out and try to help us to, support the project. We're working with Mr. Bill Luft. He did the original architecture work there on the main entrance and I think the clubhouse, and he has designed what you guys have all got in front of you is the entrance. This is going to be where you turn into the subdivision. I thought that was a pretty good looking entrance, and it kind of matches what's already existing there. But we're going to try to do this in a top-notch manner. We're going to irrigate your existing road going into the golf course, and we're going to spend some money landscaping it, and we'd like to do from your existing entrance out to Mines Road, the area up there that's all barren and the Border Patrol keeps it beat down. We would like to irrigate that and landscape that and all the way into where you turn into this gate. And once you turn into this gate, then we'll have our internal landscaping. But we're taking a chance on it. We're pumping some money into it, and hopefully it's successful. I mean, it's an unproven market that far out of town. But I think it's a good idea. I think it may be slow in the beginning, but I think once we get a few roofs up, it'll take off. So, any questions that any of you guys or ladies have for me regarding the project?
The only thing from my end, we've had unofficial discussions as to how that, because of the layout, how that is going to affect number 17 and all that area.
Well, it's gonna, in my opinion, it's gonna make the golfers play it the way it was designed. Instead of cutting that corner, they're gonna have to play it the way it was designed. And one thing that might help the golf course and help the development is to extend that existing pond. That would deter them to try to cut the corner because there would be water on the other side. I think that would be good for the golf course. It'd give you guys more capacity for your water. It'd be a closer haul for me to haul the dirt to build these lots up. So, I mean, I think it could be a win-win-win. But we need to figure out who's got to approve that.
So you need dirt?
Yeah, I need 20,000 yards.
Well, I mean, I think we spoke over Tom. We just gotta make sure about the wiring and all that stuff for the piping. That's with the irrigation. But if that all can be done in a manner where it won't affect the play of game and everything, I mean, that is one of the things that we've always been concerned with, was the amount of water we have to keep pumping in every day to sustain the course in the summer months. In the winter months, it's no big deal. So it could be a benefit.
Does it require, well, obviously it's going, this is the first time we hear of it, so then now, I'm not sure if there's any formal communication, obviously, that needs to happen to the city
Yes.
through Parks and Recs. That way, all the permission slips can be done.
Correct.
And so that it doesn't
Yeah.
stop you from moving forward. But I guess this would be the first stop, and then from
Yeah.
here, we can direct staff to expect that there's gonna be that communication and figure a way that it's gonna benefit, I guess, both parties
Both
and
parties.
and how we're gonna,
Yeah.
how that's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Obviously, you're gonna have to open up the gated area right there where the pump is at to,
Yes.
well, yeah, so, I mean, that kind of thing is gonna have to be,
Yeah, there's a lot of details
there's
there.
gotta be a lot of specifics on it so that, people will
Yeah.
understand, while work is going on, what to expect for the players and our customers and then what we need to do for them.
And it would impact you in a very short period of time. I mean, for us to go in with track hose and haul trucks and move 20,000 yards is basically a 5-day process.
Yeah, that's
So
good.
you're not looking at a
Yeah.
stretched out
No,
time.
yeah, I
I think
mean,
that'll get everybody to get used to hitting it this way.
there's still gonna be the brave soul going on that.
But so are we
risk it,
still
no
looking
biscuit.
at, are we still looking at it being a sedimentary pond?
Yeah, I think so.
Right.
That hasn't been discussed.
I know that you guys were talking about it from a practical
Yeah.
point of view, so that we don't, because we're looking at, what is it, 8 years or so before that other pond gets filled up with just sediment?
Probably.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
They did line that pond with bentonite,
Yeah.
so.
We could do that, or there's a real thin geotextile liner that we used to use in the oil field a lot. Whatever you recommend.
Yeah, I think it's a process of just, really finding out what's under there. I know Tom mentioned the communication from the sprinkler system everywhere, so that would be one major, I guess, obstacle in the beginning. And then the piping because the pump house is right there, so everything goes into that little
I
area.
mean, we could leave a 15-foot gap
Yeah.
there and just put pipe in,
Mhm.
so that the ponds flow together.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
So we could leave all those utility corridor in place
Mhm.
and just leave a gap there.
Yeah, and see if we can work around it, and then off we go. Okay.
Eventually, the pump house, we have idea, we want to beautify it.
Correct.
Because it's, I mean, we need also kind of looking at it, because it's a little bit of an
Yeah.
eyesore. You can be building a house out there and have that.
Yeah,
pump house.
Yes, I think that as long as, really it would be, I guess, just to make it match kind of like the clubhouse, just to give it that same look.
Well, we have the same designer of the
Yeah,
clubhouse.
Mr. Luft is the
Yeah,
same, so I'm sure
Bill's doing all that.
he'll do it up nicely.
Yeah, because I think, it's too tall right now. I mean, obviously, they wanted to make sure that there was airflow in there.
Yeah.
But I'm wondering if now they can do something to even lower it even more so it won't stick out as badly as it is right now.
And we could do a real pretty, like the ruins with celosia.
Yeah.
The gelatine
Oh, yeah.
balls. Something to make it a little bit more attractive.
Yeah.
It's relatively inexpensive, and I think it would,
Go.
help us
Yeah,
and
everybody.
the landowner, whoever's gonna buy those lots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Having it.
And that hog fence there that's along the golf course will eventually be replaced with some kind of a decorative black iron fence. And I guess we'll have to move the hog fence to the other side, out in the field.
Right. We were mentioning before that there was gonna be, right at that turn, that it was gonna be tree lined. I'm not sure if that's the case still.
We talked
Again,
about it.
all that talk was unofficial before,
Yeah.
so, but you guys are doing all the design work for that anyway.
I mean, we had talked about it, but I think if we dig this pond in the right place,
Yeah.
you're not gonna have people, I mean, maybe occasionally, but
Yeah, it's,
you're not gonna have 70% of the people trying to cut that corner.
yeah,
Right.
yeah. It's like the club, I think it's whole, what, 11 when they moved it, all that, now it's like, yeah.
There's a big house and a window in there. You
It's
think
just
twice
too-
about
it
trying to
just-
cut
it
that
just
corner
creates
down.
Oh, yeah, I
too
mean-
long.
Yeah,
That last lot in phase one is gonna be sold to Beto Alacon. He's already asked for it. So, I mean, he's gonna build a big house there and people aren't gonna wanna hit his house, I'm sure. So hopefully they'll plan it correctly.
Well, but the difference between the country club and over here, by public course, we mean public. And so there you have people in there that are not gonna consider anything that's out there. But I mean, so long as we're thinking about the you know, and we're talking about, and I think it's gonna be about 25, 30 feet away from the actual fence line that were built, where the actual buildings.
Setback.
Setback,
Setback.
more than that. yeah.
50
Oh,
feet, I
50
think.
feet
Oh,
from
even
whatever
better.
it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
okay.
No, I think it'll work out well. The only other question that came up last time was the aesthetics over at the green on number 17, and how it's gonna affect you having the bathroom area down here, because I think that's one of your last lots is gonna be butted up against
That
that.
only affects that first lot.
Oh,
And the way we designed this, that first lot is not I thought that was gonna be one of the best lots, and it's probably the worst lot,
well,
after we actually see where it's at on the ground.
Yeah.
But, that's
So-
just part of it.
So I'm hearing discount?
Well, this again?
well, but then you have
You got a
the.
T-box view.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh,
You
yeah,
got a T-box view,
Yeah.
I guess of 18, going back the other way.
right.
And
That's a nice view.
14 has something there.
It's gonna be a long corridor view of that.
And it's
14.
safer
Yeah.
too.
So
The-
that one,
the other-
if
the
you
other-
raise it up high enough, that, I think it's the prettiest lot.
If you get it up high.
If you get it up high enough, I mean, you'd see it all.
Or they have a
the way.
Are you gonna have, so
About
then that
balcony on
brings
the
the
second
question
floor.
of elevation across, it's gonna be based on, I mean, if they want a view, they can raise it up as much as they want.
Well, we have some regulations as to how
Yeah.
high and.
I mean, we're raising it up.
Yeah, 2 foot. am I
Yeah,
correct?
well, if you go all the way to the end of phase one, there's about a 5-foot field right there.
Yeah.
And part of the reason we're doing that is to make the sewage drain back to the main road.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, it gets a fair amount of field, very little cut, and 20-some odd thousand yards of field.
The equipment yard is not in your way at all?
Maintenance
the
part.
maintenance area?
No.
We can get rid of that one, it'd be nice too.
I mean, if you wanna
We'll
move,
be able
if you
to-
wanna move it, we'll sell the rest of those lots.
We've got plenty of
Well,
land
Hey, if
that you
it's
can
money for the
swap,
man.
yeah.
Well, I was thinking of that because it might be worth considering, only because if it's gonna impede on giving it a natural flow, the entrance and exit for people, and not to have that sort of eyesore in there.
Yeah, we have plenty of property out there if you want to move it, that we could swap.
Yeah, we would love to see it moved.
Yeah.
I mean, we would,
I mean, I'm just saying, but I don't know I mean, if you have anything that's set in stone to keep it there.
Oh,
I know it was the original,
Yeah.
what do you call it?
It's
was-
money for you guys and
Huh?
else. I mean, it's something to consider. I mean, it's just.
I would grade you a place wherever you wanted it.
Well, I mean, that's something.
Well,
we
it's
can-
because it totally it keeps you away. And let's say these guys are fixing something there that's making a lot of noise. It just keeps the golf course in itself
Isolated.
over here, and it keeps the property owners over here. And it just doesn't, there's no noise pollution, there's no,
Well, honestly, if we done it, it would give Gary and myself and Manuel, it would give us 8 more lots.
yeah.
So,
well, I mean, it's just, again, that was just something I was thinking about. in terms of how do you set apart the golf course and the property, and then that way they can coexist, where there's nothing impeding each other, where there's nothing that's gonna be providing you with any sort of headache later on that we could have thought about right now.
Because we're trying to, that little corner as you go in, we're trying to save it for a little convenience store, something really nice
Yeah.
that'll supplement,
Right.
kind of help. And we're gonna build that probably at a loss.
Mhm.
And because we're gonna supplement it, we're gonna,
Yeah.
whoever gets it, we're just gonna, so, in other words, we just want people to be comfortable, at least to go buy a Coke,
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
some milk, some
Yeah.
Cheeto, whatever it is that they need.
Where are
Right.
you talking about putting
Well,
that?
some corner, somewhere around
Okay,
that, little-
yeah.
the entrance, just a real nice, a little.
And there's a Lowe's coming in right down the road.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah,
A Lowe's?
By the Pinnacle.
Lowe's. yeah, so,
It's all something to
Well,
think
I'd
about.
suggest that Love's, for one thing, depending on the aging population that you might be putting in there, that I think the number one thing that they're gonna need is a pharmacy.
yeah,
And it's gonna be, and I was telling Gary the last time we spoke here about all his vision of the whole area and how it's gonna look. I think that, you can really transform that whole area with just groceries and a pharmacy. And you have that something somewhere in that area.
Small community HEB.
Yeah.
Chivito.
Yeah.
But I'm sure that'll be a hard sell.
yeah, that, we've tried. It's, the one that came close was a neighborhood Walmart.
Yeah.
But they want further.
A Dollar General
Yeah.
Yeah.
would be better than.
Yeah.
Yeah.
than nothing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm, again, I'm speaking individually and not part of the committee, but anything that makes that, you don't wanna be doing all of this and then it just doesn't pan out. What I'd want us to do is to really consider anything from the city's point of view that can facilitate the process of getting this thing to be successful, because if you're successful, chances are we're gonna be successful over here. And so it only means that the monies that you're gonna be spending to beautify the entrances and doing all that kind of stuff, that just goes right along with what I envision this committee doing throughout the golf course, and it can bleed into all of that. So, there's still a lot more room to do more things inside the golf course that I think we should be doing in terms of making it more receptive to the public to get in there. And if you have a separate community in that area that buys along to it, buys into it, then better for everybody.
That's definitely something to consider, that area. Maybe, some affordable, not affordable, but smaller casitas like we talked about.
Well, that we're gonna build
Oh,
on the other side.
Okay,
On the
perfect.
other side, that's already planned.
Awesome.
I mean, we're probably, it's not here, but I showed them, we're gonna have some affordable housing on the opposite side.
Mm-hmm.
We are have the approval of an elementary, which you're gonna start, they have the money for it. So
And
we're
we're
gonna
talking the
build.
other side, this side of the road.
The other side of the road.
Mines Road.
Right where Primero is,
Mhm.
that's where we're gonna start with, well, we're gonna develop 130 lots,
Yeah.
but we're gonna start with 45.
Yeah.
45 houses, and that's where the elementary and middle school is gonna go. They're gonna start the middle school. Now, we're also working on the high school, and that's pretty much a done deal as well. They're gonna build a high school right in front of the entrance of
The Max.
The Max. Well, 400 feet.
We actually pushed out the boundary
Yeah.
for that. If you're driving north on Mines Road, you'll see our sign.
Yeah.
But you see an alleyway that's been cut out with a dozer.
Yeah.
I saw
That's
it.
the line for the proposed high school.
So I can feel safe to tell you now that that's the new high school. The next high school that's gonna be built for UISD, that's it.
Nice.
So we're gonna have 3 major high school. The elementary, for sure,
Yeah.
is gonna go in probably next year.
Cool.
All right, so we've got a lot planned for that area, which brings me to the thing that maybe we can start working like little programs for the elementary kids.
Oh, yeah.
T-ball, I mean, to get them out there and expose them,
Mhm.
get a lot of little,
Yeah.
I mean, it's good for you all.
Definitely.
So, I mean, that's kind of where this whole thing is compiling. We've been working on it for a long years, and
Well,
it's all coming together now.
Like
You
I
know,
said,
Casey was-
anything we can do to help sell the lots, we've already spoken about it. We don't mind having you know, kind of like a little area there for you guys reserved so that, you know, obviously there'll be times where we have other tournaments that they might want to use that area. We can take it down
Sure.
and put it back up. Because Fabiola's one of our helpers there that works with us,
Mhm.
and she gets questions all the time. I get questions, and they're starting to come more often. And when any information that we can give that can help sell something,
Appreciate
we're
it.
definitely on board.
We're redoing those little things in the back, we're putting this plat.
Yeah.
So now you
Perfect.
can put it, I mean, because it was a blank, so
Yeah.
we're gonna have some new
Yeah,
flyers there as well.
and pricing is, you know, obviously that'd be awesome. That way we could,
Pricing is.
yeah, it's still kind of there.
We're still
And
kind
we'll,
of
we'll
debating.
definitely send them your way. That
Yeah.
way, you know, hopefully it'll help you guys grow.
The other thing on that is now, it brings up another question of the high volume expectations for this. Obviously, when it all gets built,
Mhm.
you put a tournament together there
Mhm.
that brings in 100 players
Mhm.
or teams.
Mhm.
You know, all that kind of planning is what I want you to be thinking about, because it's gonna, again, you're going into one main entrance.
Yeah.
And, you know, how's that gonna affect the people that are living in that area?
Yeah.
Are we gonna have to, and I'm not sure if in the future you guys are gonna have separate exits?
There's two, if you notice, Rick, there's two, one is, one's gonna be an exit, one's gonna be an entrance.
Yeah,
Right now, we go in through one,
right.
But that's
But the
private,
other-
the private road, right?
no, on the, if you go
Isn't
into,
that a private
there's
entrance?
another one of these openings, like this on the if you go in there on the left side,
Uh-huh.
where the turnaround is, the
Yeah.
turnabout
Yeah.
is, it merges into one, but it's, the reason they put that is because it's gonna open up to two lanes.
Yeah.
an
Right.
entrance and a-
Yeah,
and a-
That's still
No,
one, that's still
That's
one
just
entrance.
one entrance.
Oh, well, yes, yes,
And
yes.
Yeah, the
what
fire
I'm saying
department's
is that
gonna
I'm not
need
sure if,
two
if
entrances.
it's gonna have an, you know, to offset some of that.
For fire code, yeah.
So
Once you hit
that's gonna be
35
something
lots.
to look at, and I'm
There's
just,
not a lot. Yeah, when we do phase two, we'll have to address that.
Yeah, we're gonna have to have that second road.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, you don't have to put it in, you just have to have it planned.
Right.
If you have more than 35 lots, you have to have
Mhm.
on your master plan, which I know you have more land, another entrance.
so that's really the deal that I'm looking at. You put one of the, if right now 75% of your weekends are taken up by tournament use, you know, what kind of, you know, what kind of volume of people and noise pollution, and all this kind of stuff that's gonna go on, and there's gonna affect them, and vice versa. And so I'm not saying that it can't really be okay with this,
Right.
but I mean, it's one of those things that we have to consider only because at the end of the day, the city or the citizens are gonna say that, they just want to have the accessibility that it requires for it to be a public course.
Mhm.
And then, after a while, I'm sure they're gonna build an association in there that's gonna require us to put some sort of ordinances about what they want.
Mhm.
And so I think if we think ahead of those things, and you can bring them that information, they can go ahead and start planning for however it's gonna look 10 years from now. You know, because I could already imagine, I mean, let's say half of the population that's living in there is gonna be using it on a daily basis. Could you imagine that? That's just gonna be an incredible, I mean, I could already foresee that there's gonna be openings in the back area so that the people can have their own golf carts to go
No,
into.
that's
No,
not,
that's-
that's not gonna happen.
No.
Huh?
And our CCNRs, they're not gonna have access from the
Okay.
backyard to the golf.
It's gonna be closed. We don't want it.
Well, I mean, I'm saying, let's say the ones that come out and the main road, that they're gonna be having, I'm not sure if you're gonna allow personal carts or anything like that to go in there.
I mean, that's something we would have to, but probably not just because of the GPS and everything that we already have installed and all that stuff.
Good, good.
Yeah.
Just, I mean, just to consider all,
Yeah.
every little thing that we can do right now, it's at the beginning stages.
Yeah.
That you can foresee that's gonna affect us in a negative way or affect them in a negative way, this is the time to.
I mean, they're gonna have a house on the golf course, but they're not gonna have free run of the golf course.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's just something that, you know, maybe we can give them a discount on the cart, you know what I mean, or something like that, because they're residents or whatever. If we work out something with the HOA or something.
Where you pay for they have to pay for storage costs.
Yeah, it's.
Put their own personal
Yeah,
card.
like a trail fee
Mhm.
and all that, but then that's gonna, let's say our GPS we've got zones now that, hey, you can't drive there.
No,
These guys are gonna
can't.
come in. We had a guy from the country club already do that the first time, brought his own car, and then I told Mr. Bender, who's our marshal, I go, keep an eye on him, I wanna see what he's doing. And of course, he's like, you know, breaking all the rules, like, hey, look at me, guys.
Yeah.
I'm not
I'm
following.
the only one that has
Yeah.
that. And so, I mean, people are, believe it or not, everybody that's out there is excited. They're there's some voices of concern out there. And obviously, when this committee was formed, I told, well, everybody that would ask me, I said, this is not gonna be this is gonna be a working committee, something that really gets their hands involved and gets involved in what's going on, and only for the right reasons, that we think about everything that needs to be thought of to create an environment for great customer service, because at the end of the day, that's really what I'm telling Dennis and everybody there, that's what sells our area there. So we have the great customer service, we already have the venue that's second to none, so it'd be a shame to put all of this together and then it bites us later because we didn't plan something that's gonna affect us later on.
Our goal is, I mean, when we started doing this, the tax base it's gonna create on the golf course is just, I mean, those houses alone, those 12 houses alone are gonna generate about $20,000 a year of tax.
Mhm.
A tax base, each.
Yeah.
You know, so you talk, I mean,
Yep.
by the first phase or second phase, that, the deficit on that golf course should be paid alone by the tax base it's gonna create.
Right.
So-
And then having said that, that main entrance is still, Bernal said a key word, it's still gonna be considered a private entrance.
I thought it was, I don't know.
I don't know, I mean, I
So,
thought that.
and I'm telling you, because the city should, and which happens at most developments, is once it's created, obviously the city takes over the, those roads.
Which entrance are you referring to?
I'm referring to this one all the way through.
No, this is their entrance.
This is our entrance.
Yeah,
Right.
off of Mines Road.
The
I think
one
it
you're
is
talking
that-
about, the one in Mines Road?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was deeded to the city.
Yeah.
That does
Yeah, but
not belong to.
I don't think it's a public entrance, I think it's a city property.
It's the city's property.
Yeah.
But
So-
I mean, it's probably, it's just city's property.
It's the city's property, it's not ours, it's.
Yeah.
it's
No, I know,
Yeah,
but-
no, what I'm saying is it should be public, but it's not platted. As a matter of fact, we're having problems, we're having.
It's not
we're all-
platted, that's why it's just a driveway, it's just an entrance.
Yeah.
It's like anybody's entrance going into their house, that's what it is. It's not a public road, but it's a long entrance, that's how they did it. And I remember Jacobs, the city made sure that they built that road according to city specs, so one day it can go and become public, so they don't have to redo it. So I know they had a little back and
Well,
forth
that,
on that.
we're having a little problems with that right now.
Yeah.
That road's built to city specs.
I don't think so.
Well, that's just what I heard. I just heard that.
I think it's only in terms of,
Oh,
They never let me.
Yeah, no, yeah,
It's only in terms of-
the.
You're talking about the fill?
Yeah.
The caliche,
underlay, yeah.
the base material,
The base.
not the width, they don't have no curb
no
and gutter.
footing, no nothing in there, so.
That's why I thought you were gonna have to maybe make that public to get to your
Yeah,
subdivision.
that's all in discussion.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So, but then that's one of the things that, again, that it's very important, which leads me to, it'll lead up to another subject that we have pending with the city from Dennis's contract point of view, but we'll go after that one later, because in order for all of this to happen, we need to start thinking ahead, how is that gonna affect our capital improvements budget? What are we gonna do to accommodate everybody that's in there because of the wear and tear of all the movement that's going on in there? I don't want it to get to the point where we're having a lot of movement at the last second. Hey, we need to invest another 1.2 million on the road, on the accessibility. We don't have enough parking. We need to open up that front area and make more parking. And we need to have everybody be on the same on the same page with that.
Yeah.
So that, 4 years down the line, 5 years down the line, this thing takes off. Are we gonna have enough to accommodate everybody? What are the expenses that are gonna go back to the city in doing that? The lighting part, obviously, there's gonna be, if you're having problems with it right now, it's probably because of the lighting that's gonna have to occur along the road all the way through. And how that's gonna look. So that's part of the thing, JJ, that the city, we're gonna have to, I know if they're having issues right now, we need to figure out what needs to be done to facilitate their,
What issues are you referencing?
no, right now you were saying we were having issues with the road part, the entrance.
I mean, it's in discussion with Gary and the city.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's what I meant. I mean,
So, okay, so that's what I was
Gary
telling
and his
you.
attorney and
Yeah,
the
they're
city people are
working that out.
discussing.
Okay, so I said anything that this committee can do to facilitate that, to get it going.
I think as a committee, just mention it to your council members.
Okay.
Exactly.
Your council members. so that
We
they
need, we
can-
need, you know, help from the council members to try to move this thing along.
So they can get into our, reach to our city managers and put our departments together and say, what's, we're gonna have one big huddle over all this and who needs to be involved, so.
I think that, but so aside from that, because it needs to get there first. The way the process is that it needs to get over there. Yeah, obviously, the talking to the councilman and all that is okay, but if it doesn't get presented to them, there's not much that they can do.
Right.
So the pipeline has to be opened up so that by the time it gets there, they already know what's going on.
Right.
The biggest problem, Rick, is when all of these negotiations were getting done, Carlos Guerrero was still in, and it was Horacio's project. Horacio had it, and Chuy had the baseball field. Since then, there's been a couple of changes, right? So nobody really knows what's going on.
Where are we? Where
So
are
we want, because I mean, there's a contract between the Mandels and the city.
Right.
And there's a lot of little things in there that you need to, and Conrad Hines is the one that knows that contract in and out.
Right.
And apparently there's language in there that addresses all these issues.
Good.
So we've been trying to address it, and Eves is supposed to have a meeting with staff to bring everybody to, because right now everybody's like, well, that's yours, that's your thing.
Correct.
And Gary's like, oh, it's right here. So nobody knows, and nobody has a copy of the contract.
Right. And that's where I kind of stepped in. Last week was it, Arthur, when we met, Mike Cano called me about irrigation, so you know what, let me start bringing in the players. Como que brought in engineering, Mr. Labrada. He was the actual one that does the insides and all that. So in my position and my job is to try to get all the players that are going to be involved into the discussion here. So that, well, I'm going to do this because now it was talked about, but now it's here.
Exactly.
And now it's here. And I know from utilities to planning to engineering to traffic to all that stuff. And that's what Mr. Eads kind of put me, so we're going to start planning this together so that we can all start coming into.
So everybody knows, everybody's on the same page.
Once every 2 weeks, the Islitas and the Max project that's up here, and what are the utilities to come from, where is traffic going to need, so we all come like you're talking about, Rick. And from that meeting, it was just supposed to be Mike Conner and myself, and it turned out to be a good, productive meeting because we have an idea of everything what it was about. And I was able to bring not everybody was there, because I know Rio wasn't there, but the majority of the players were in that meeting last week or so.
So I mean, if you need you might not need the blessing of this committee to keep it going, because obviously you do.
Right.
But it might be a good idea that we state right now that whatever staff needs to do from this committee's point of view to keep the ball rolling,
Okay.
get it done so that you end the discussion with us, and then now it moves forward somewhere else instead of getting, well, did they do something about it over there?
Exactly.
Right.
So we need to try and eliminate ourselves from that equation.
Right, I think, and the committee's recommendation for the city staff to move on
To continue to-
move on discussions and planning with all available members so we
Right.
can move forward with this.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, good.
Water treatment.
Anything else? Anybody, any more questions for these gentlemen? Well, good. I'm certainly excited. I know there's a lot of movement going on out there, so.
And this is just to kind of give everybody a time frame. I mean, you're concerned with something sneaking up on you and you not being budgeted for it, or the city not being budgeted for it. I mean, this is gonna be slow. I mean, phase one, if we're successful in selling the lots, and, I mean, it's gonna take you 2 years to build those
At
houses.
least.
So, it's nothing that's gonna happen overnight. I think, phase one, probably 2 to 4 years in the works, and phase two probably be a little quicker. But I don't think, 24 lots is not gonna have a huge impact on any of the infrastructure.
Right.
So,
To give you an idea, we've verbally sold 7 lots already, which was pretty.
That's good.
I mean, without advertising, it's just word of mouth, and I mean, now we're starting to advertise, and Chris is getting a phone call every other day on it. We don't have a lot of, as far as pricing and stuff is concerned, but we are getting a lot of interest.
Yeah.
Which I figured, what did I tell you, Casey? I think we were gonna sell maybe 6-7 months, we were gonna sell half of them, the fairway lots.
I think the fairway lots are gonna sell, and we're gonna build a couple spec houses. on the non-fairway side. And I don't know if we don't sell them, we'll turn them into Airbnb or something like you were talking about. But,
That might be a good section to do that.
Yeah, I mean, we have the high schools that bring 5
That's
players
an
at a
idea.
time, that they need to,
that already,
you know, it'll save them an hour, because
Yeah.
they stay in town, they have to wake up, the tournament starts at 8, they gotta be there at 5:30, 6:30 sometimes, this will save them an hour.
Wedding venues.
Wedding venues. It's all there.
Gary and I were thinking of building a little non-denominational church out there, real nice for the wedding venues, to try to help
That'll
out,
help.
you know. That's another thing we were thinking about. We've got little plans.
There you go.
So,
Good.
you know, try to help it out.
Mhm. Sounds
You
good.
know, I've been hearing complaints, though, if you wanna hear them about the wedding venue. You know, I get a lot of things about the liquor, not letting them take their own liquor.
Yeah.
It's, you
It's
know.
TABC, yeah.
I know, but, I mean, there's gotta be ways. I mean, I wish it would get more people out there.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it'd be, you know, I
Yeah.
think it's a great place to
Mhm.
do it. It's a beautiful area,
Yeah.
you know, lit up and stuff. It's, you know, so, I mean, however we can help on that as well. And we've got a lot of plans for it.
I think that's the party, I mean, that's on you all, but that's part of the fear factor, I think, at night, when it really, there's nobody out there, it's kind of desolate. I think it brings everybody's ears up and
Mhm.
to try and figure out how we're gonna get it. I think once you have a lot of movement out there,
It's
you're
gonna
gonna
help
feel a
it.
little bit more comfortable to do the things that you want them to do. You know, a church with a small community center in there that can offset the wedding part of it
Mhm.
and reception area in there, it can work out. But yeah, I personally don't fear the distance. A lot of people that are not new to that area, because it's so dark and so desolate at the beginning, right at the exit at night, I think that's the fear that they have. Once all this thing takes off, I think naturally people are gonna be drawn to it because there's movement and there's not that, oh, I'm all alone in here, what if something
Yeah.
happens, you know?
You know, eventually when we get those schools out there, we'll get traffic lights and, you
Yeah.
know, things of that nature there that kind of slow traffic down, because we can slow it down.
Yeah.
And it'd be in between those two little areas. Even with Texas, a different animal. you know.
if they get
Uh-huh.
if they get that other road built, the Char Road.
Yeah, Char Road.
built, that'll take a lot of pressure off that up there.
Yeah, because what's hard is Killam Boulevard in that area. That's where you're really right next to the
That's
trucks.
bottleneck right there.
Well, speaking of the Killam's gonna build by Seal. By
Yeah.
Seal Road, so that's one. And then,
Achar
you know,
Road.
the Achar Road is two, so you're gonna have all that traffic being directed away from all these areas. And I think it's just gonna be a good little area. Plus, you're gonna have connectivity from mile marker 13, all that industrial area, which is we're hoping it's gonna supplement our smaller, you know, the lower income.
Hopefully they do a main road going away from the golf course.
Yeah.
So once that all develops,
Yeah.
they run into the
They
golf
run.
course.
Well, our way of thinking was, we did some little market studies out there, and 2/3 of the people working out on mile marker 13, I'm talking forklift operators, you know, low management positions, and most of them live out in the south, and they travel about 45 minutes.
Yes.
30-plus miles,
I'd-
one
I'd-
way, so it's 60, almost 70 miles.
I'd refer you at 8:30 in the morning on I-35, getting off the Mines Road exit
Yeah.
and coming around the other way, and it is bumper to
Yeah.
bumper, and it's just, and it's crazy, because after you get off you get on that bridge to get on Mines Road, now it's a 3-laner in there.
Yeah.
And it's just amazing that it flows, not as fast as you want it, but it can give you an idea of how many people are traveling, how far they're traveling to get out there. So
So
getting them closer to their jobs is a big plus.
So we're thinking we're gonna decongest a little bit of that traffic with these little houses. I mean, it's a start, but
Yeah.
I mean, we're gonna see the first phase. If the first phase goes good, then we're gonna blow and go.
When's that going?
Probably the end of this year, we're gonna start breaking ground.
Oh, so you can do them at the same time?
Pretty much. They're gonna start first, but we're pretty much getting ready to roll with it. We
Yeah,
just
those
need-
will go faster.
Huh?
Those lots will go
Well, we're
faster.
hoping so. We're gonna be in the 140 range, which is it's an unheard of market in Laredo. I mean, it doesn't exist anymore. I mean, there's a couple of little houses that Armadillo does just to sell. to get a couple of people in the little subdivisions. They call it, work, their little helping thing. But we want to do all these houses in the 140s. So we want to get that type, we're not going to have a front yard. It's all rear-ended through the alleys in the back. You're going to have a little, so you're going to have nice clean areas in the front. None of this yards with no grass and 2 cars parked in the front with.
The townhouse approach.
With the
type.
jacks, huh?
Like a townhouse approach.
Pretty much.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah,
That's good.
1,213's max.
Yeah.
Square foot houses. We want to attack the apartment market. There's a lot of people spending a lot more than what we can put them into a house in an apartment.
Right.
So we think there's a little bit of market.
Well, there's a change. I mean, everything going through Cuatro Vientos and everything's just pulling everybody over there, yeah.
And they all work up here.
Up here, yeah.
So we want to switch it around.
Good. Well, gentlemen, if there's any more questions for them, I'd certainly like to have, if you all are more than welcome to come after or whenever you see fit, that this committee is wide open for exploration of any possible ideas or anything like that might be, that you guys might be going through,
Okay.
that might need to have some facilitation. You all are
Thank you.
more than welcome to come over.
Appreciate it.
Mhm.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
You have a good day.
The next item up for discussion with possible action,
Tony.
or do you want to go into staff reports, strategy of water allocated to the golf course, the projected amount going to be used on the annual basis and projected for beautification clubhouse, for the clubhouse, of the clubhouse. And anything like that, Jay?
Yeah, let's go ahead and go with the strategy of water. We can,
Okay.
start before Mr.
Yeah.
Whatever. Again, we also have Eileen. That was from CBB, convention, we had some questions for her as well. So we'll start with Tony.
Okay.
Let me go ahead and pass out. I got 10 copies. I don't know how many to bring, but I brought 10. So,
We can share one if you want to.
there's 2 parts. Couldn't put them in one place. But what you see there is the accounts that are being utilized by the golf course. Thank you. And you can see the amount of water they've used, been diverted from. You can see the amount of water is being diverted from 2014 to 2018.
Thank you.
And I'll explain it to you in a minute. All right, so if you look at the first column, this says there's an account number 2698008. So from 2014 to 2018, you can see the number of acre feet. And then the other account they use is 2774-005, and then 2777-000. And then you have the bottom portion of that, this below the spreadsheet, that's the amount they have available to use for those accounts, and it carries over to the second page. So you can see that there are some years that they haven't used any water that's been diverted to the golf course. And just so you know, we've had 2 accounts, 2761-002 and 2761-801. Those were,
Consolidated, no?
well, they weren't consolidated. They were put on hold and reduced down to 0 because lack of use. So there was 3 years of no use for that account, so they zeroed it out, and we basically lost them. So we'd have to go back and try to, if we could put them in. Now, Rio was talking about, we have 2 accounts, 3997-00 and 3997-002, which we have about 40,000 acre feet of water that we can't use because they're procedural water rights. And for us to utilize them, we have to build another intake, basically. So we were using them at a Columbia water plant, but that water plant's now been decommissioned. So we can't use that, so we're thinking about giving those to the golf course. But as you can see on the spreadsheet, how much water is being used, is not much water. I mean, we got plenty of water of acres feet to be able to be diverted, but they're not being utilized a lot.
Can use yours, is it?
So, that's pretty much the report that I have that you told me to bring. I guess-
If in fact, you give them over here, how will that transport help? How will it happen?
It's still owned by the city.
Oh, okay.
So just, we have to fill out a certificate
Oh,
and do
paperwork.
like we just did before.
Yeah.
Transfer. They're industrial.
And they can use them?
Yeah, what it is the pursuer water rights is that the reason we can't use them is because, you have to order them 14 days in advance.
Mhm.
And you have to be able to meter those on a separate meter. So unless we build a brand new intake or some other way of being able to measure them on a separate meter, we're not gonna do that. It's
And they,
just
and they
the
have a
cost.
meter, so,
Huh?
and they have their own meter.
What, they have their own intake.
Intake
So,
and
so they can be able to measure those. So we can switch over from the.
But I mean, they're gonna be using it, and it's gonna be credited to you, right?
It still belongs to,
Yeah,
all of them,
okay.
everything belongs to Silverado.
Yeah.
We're just, all we're doing is have given them the permission to be able to
Allowing them.
utilize
Yeah.
the Silverado. And we have given them the paperwork necessary by the water master to be able to utilize those water rights.
Right.
But they all belong to Silverado.
Okay, good.
That works.
Tony, just because I remember when Mark Soto left, and then we had the other gentleman here for a little bit, and then Tom took over. I think the only accounts that they gave us to use were these three. Somehow they had converted these little ones into one of
At the
them.
very beginning, yeah, because the problem was that, I guess the Mandel
Hmm?
were using their water rights.
Oh, okay.
So then what happened was that they wanted to irrigate water on their property,
Mm-hmm.
so they were utilizing the water rights that they provided to
Okay.
y'all, because we didn't have water rights at the very beginning when the
Okay.
golf course was built.
Okay,
So it took a while to get all the water
That's how
rights,
much
but
they use.
now we have these assigned water rights to y'all.
okay. So these three right here are the ones that we need Tom to be able, rotating on them daily, just so that it can just make it easier.
That's correct.
Or at least on a weekly basis, say, okay, let me switch
You
over
gotta
to the
use
next
as
one.
much water as you can. I mean, you can
Okay.
see you got 500,
Mm-hmm.
you got 500, 157, and
Yeah.
1279. So you basically have 600,
Mhm.
almost 800
What
acre
is,
feet.
what is the, and just an explanation for the layman like me, so we're talking about 5 accounts that they're using?
3,
Why three?
huh?
Why three?
Those are the ones that got allocated towards to the municipal golf course.
Oh, okay.
But who
And,
owns these? Is it the city or Jacobs?
City.
Okay, I thought Jacobs also,
At the very beginning, we were using our Max Mandel. They have irrigation water rights, because the Max had their own irrigation. We were using those at the very beginning.
Okay.
but not anymore.
No, then Horacio, we had to go get water rights, and those are the ones that got designated before my time.
Mhm.
Those are the ones that got designated toward the Max Mandel.
Okay.
Is there any way of being able to consolidate it into one account rather than
No.
having to,
Oh, that's right.
No,
no?
no. They gotta be in separate accounts. But, I mean, there's no problem. They order the water, we take care of the paperwork.
Yeah.
All they do is just certify the water, amount of water they use. They have plenty of water rights right now to be able to take care of whatever water necessary they have out of the river.
I might just ask this question, because I know this question has come up the last week or so. I know that I walked in a little bit late and I apologize, was caught up in a meeting. One of the things that these gentlemen are proposing is for them to landscape the entrance, all the way to the entrance to the max. They wanted to put I think Mr. Jacobs called me yesterday, he wanted to put up $220,000 of landscaping, all the way to the entrance to the,
Yeah.
you know, looking nice, but what he's asking, Tony, is if the city, and this maybe, I don't know, maybe, if the city will pay, I think I mentioned to Dennis,
Yeah.
will pay for the water,
Water.
to water the.
This will be a way to divert it and do that. This would be,
Well, whatever gets diverted is gotta go to his meter first.
Mhm.
yeah,
So however you wanna pump it up to the front,
Yeah.
yeah.
So it would just be a matter of somehow connecting our current line to
But
run
it'd
down.
have to be an agreement that the common areas are gonna be sustained with water only, let's say, by you all, and then the actual maintenance of that that's the contract that needs to be, I mean, ironed out by you, both of you.
Yeah, 'cause in that
Is
case, if it's water
you know,
from the
we'll
river,
provide you
we
the
got all
water,
this
but you
water.
do the maintenance
Mhm.
to all of that. And so I think if he's gonna do that and he does that, that I think would be the, I don't know, well, I think that would be the fair allocation of
Yeah.
contribution by both parties. But I mean, unless he's thinking
The
of doing
pond's
something.
big enough, though.
Well, you know, that's also what we were talking about, how much water usage can it be? You know, if it's
It's
just,
gonna be zero scape, more, you know, it's gonna be a lot, I mean, it's not gonna be a lot of, you know,
Yeah.
talking the stuff that does need a lot of water, bougainvilleas, you know, it's very, very minimal water. That's what the plan is, to do the landscape in the front.
yeah, so.
The entrance all the way through.
But that's maybe why they're doing it that way, because they're saying, we're gonna do that because it's gonna cost us to bring water in to do it.
Yeah.
But knowing this factor right here, if you're not gonna be, if you're under every year and you have the water to spare and it's your contribution so that they
Yeah.
can, maybe
Beautify
that
the
they can use other species in there
Yeah.
to.
Yeah, you'd have to put some kind of designation sign that says non-potable water.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah.
So I mean, it's something to think about. I'm not saying-
Eventually.
Yeah,
we're
like I
gonna
said, but you just gotta put the non-potable
Yeah, because the water cuts across right there on 13th to the other side of the golf course. So it would be a matter
Oh,
of
yeah.
taking a line straight down all the way to the entrance.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And just
put
power.
a phase
Mhm.
on it.
paying more electricity for that
Yeah.
meter, pumping a little more.
Yeah.
But as you can see, the third column, so if you put the two pages together, 2014, 15, 16, 17, you can see the percentage of what they used every year, which is, the only year they had was that drought year we had,
Mhm.
2017,
Yeah.
which is 61%. But
Mhm.
that's pretty much the total they use of the whole
I'm
amount that
surprised
they
they don't look
allocate.
at this as a drought year. I mean, that's, are you anywhere near that?
Not yet. It's just I don't know what Tom called it, but it's not considered a drought year yet.
Wow.
Yeah.
Right, I mean, you can see pretty much as an average, they use less than 20% of the total.
Yeah.
Mm.
And to be honest, and Tom unfortunately couldn't be here. He got sick last night or whatever. But I remember we talked about the little plague that we used to get every summer and stuff like that.
Yeah.
He was on. He changed the sprinkler watering system because he felt that we were over irrigating. You know, everybody just assumed, hey, it's 110. Turn it on all day. Turn it all night. Well, the greens were getting that fungus on it because they were just constantly humid. So he's gone away from that. So we're probably even using less water. Last year we used a lot less water because
It's just that it retains it so much.
Mhm.
I mean, we played, you know, in the summer, and I remember I used to water in the afternoon. Man, that tournament last week, they didn't dry out till noon.
Yeah, so he's gone back and changed it because now with the new, everything's getting darker sooner and all that.
Yeah.
So he's changing everything around and bringing it back. He had gone up to 20 minutes per cycle. He's been back down to 15 minutes and he's turning it on a little earlier because
Yeah.
now it gets dark by 7:30, 7:45.
Yeah, and in the mornings, you're not creating enough heat. You have to
Yeah.
deal with the humidity that's out there, and then plus it's wet from the night before, so it's gonna
Yeah.
create that problem.
Yeah, he in coming November, December, he rarely waters a full cycle anymore. He just kind of douses it a little bit and that's it.
Okay.
Well, so far this year, where you're at based on the 3 certificates you have, on the 500 acre feet that you have there, they've used 333 acre feet, which you got about 165 for the remaining of the year. The other 2 certificates, they're 0. So you got plenty of water.
Yeah,
So
yeah, and I think
you
that
got
was
plenty
the original
of
plan.
volume, and you got plenty of.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's
acquired-
something that if Gary and them know about that, and if they, again, we're kind of looking at it as a partnership in what we're trying to do and sell that golf course. If they're thinking that, well, zero-scaping because it doesn't require any water, and knowing that we have that available to us and that something can be worked out, maybe they can change the kind of the plants and everything that they put in there to make it a little, I mean, way more attractive to everybody that's going in there.
Yeah.
So that's just something to consider from our, I guess, from my point of view. But,
And even if y'all come close, like I said, we have an additional, what do we have here? We have an additional 40, somewhere, we have an additional 10,000 acre feet that we
Yeah.
can give. I mean, so you got plenty of water.
These guys are out there a lot. You know, we haven't been, like in the past, we would dry out a lot. And even though we're watering less, but we're watering the greens a little less to keep them from getting that fungus. It's pretty green out there.
It's, looks incredible.
I know Dr., you played with Dr.
With Dr. Cornell this weekend, he brought in a couple of, his son-in-law, future son-in-law, plays a lot in La Frontera, and a couple of courses over there. The son-in-law, future son-in-law, and he said he was just amazed how greener the course here at Max. He was just taking pictures because he said, Mr. Woman, I played regularly La Frontera, they named another quarry, named about 6 of them. They all have, nothing even close to how green it looks like.
They have dry spots all over there. Cantera has
It's
dry
not even
spots.
close to La Frontera and private clubs that we have over there, so I was really impressed with them. They was really impressed.
This would look good, I mean, you saw the Valero this year, and TV, you could see the dry spots. You could see it, it didn't look good. It didn't look like the green,
Yeah.
like the Masters or whatever. This
Right.
kind of
Yeah,
green
yeah.
right here is Masters-like green.
Right.
So, good.
Yeah. And even though it was top dressed, the greens were top dressed this weekend, it was really nice. So let's
Good.
keep it up, guys.
Good. Okay.
Other than that, that's what I have. That's what Rhea told me. I know he was gonna be here, but he's out of town, so he's gonna sit in for
I
him,
think
but-
this is a start. I'm not sure if that's exactly what Mr. Jacobs wanted as far as, because I don't think we've given him the answers he wanted for all the questions in our first meeting. But it's kind of one of those things about these type of meetings is that what we try to do is answer everything that was said, that was requested that meeting before, so that we don't leave any open issues.
What
there.
Rhea
And-
told me was that they wanted, what we had to get for the water master was from 2014 to 2018, and on the balances and usage that they
You
had.
might wanna send a copy of this to Gary and see if that's exactly what he
Rhea
asked
has
for.
this on email.
Okay, so that it can come off the
So he
list,
said he was
and
gonna
then we
forward
can,
it to them.
whatever else he has the questions on, or any committee member has questions, on, we can move forward from there.
But he got this DA email about 3 weeks ago. I sent it to him.
Oh, okay, good.
So he's got this on
Rhea
email.
or to Mr. Jacobs?
No, Rhea. That I don't
He
know.
can transfer it over.
Yeah.
He can send it over. Okay. Any other questions? This? Okay, good, thank you. Appreciate your help.
Everybody,
No problem.
have a
Thank
good
you.
one. Thank you, sir.
Projected amount going to be used on an annual basis. Are we talking about budget?
No, I think
No, I
we're
think
talking
this-
about water, no?
No.
Or what is it talking about?
Is it just water?
Yeah. I think we basically.
Oh, okay, so it's not a separate item, then it's just the
No.
water located projected amount to be used on annual.
Isn't this where also, I thought this was the, for advertisement and as far as the CVB is concerned. as
That's
well.
what I thought so too. So we need to clean up a little bit on when we put a bullet on it. It's gotta be a different subject matter, when it's explained. Cause right now this goes, if that's the case about water, then it goes along with the first one.
Right, I think this one.
It's for
Chairman-
CVB.
Chairperson was, as far as the CVB is concerned, and what is their role as far as promoting the max, and that's why I
Right.
have here, Ms. Eileen Ramos, the director of CVB.
So, yeah, so the question came up last month of how can we incorporate your department into this project, and how we can better serve the community and the golf course using your expertise on promotion and all that.
Yes. Thank you. I'm Eileen Ramos, as JJ mentioned, the Director for the Convention and Visitors Bureau. And we have a great working relationship with the MAX. It's one of the attractions that we have, one of the best relationships in terms of communication and support. We have at the CVB, we have two different campaigns. One is because we believe that we have two distinctive products, one for the Mexican market, one for the US market. And so in Mexico, and we have two different agencies that we work with, one based in Mexico and one based in the US. And our efforts are to the Mexican market. We focus a lot in Monterrey. We know that they have the disposable income, and we know that that's a market, it's a drivable market. We know they come to Laredo to do shopping. And so we focused on we have an office in Monterrey, Casa Laredo, and we attend several golf tournaments to promote specifically the MAX. And so we constantly work with publications in Monterrey, one of them being Pro Golf. We brought several TV and news and different TV shows from Monterrey.
Outlets from where?
Exactly, and even TV shows, like we
Mhm,
brought
we did the whole
The
show.
whole show has
Oh, yeah.
broadcasted.
Like Good
out of-
Morning
yeah.
America.
Yeah.
but,
Yeah.
So we're very involved in promoting in Mexico. Now, in the US, we are undergoing a rebranding because our whole campaign hasn't changed that much in the last 5 years. And so we contracted with an agency in the US, and we're undergoing a whole rebranding. And when we say rebranding, we don't mean just a logo or the tagline. We mean things like wayfinding signage, like different elements, everything that touches the different touch points to the visitor. And we believe that the Max is a key attraction for us also in the US, especially for our meetings market. A lot of the conventions have either a pre or post tournament event or component. And so the Max is definitely one of those elements that are key for us in our coming into our rebranding. So
Good.
we'll keep you posted in terms of what new things we're doing. We are about to get our media plan approved by council, and that's coming in the next.
What, during budgets? Or
During
the-
budget, exactly, so we have specific publications that we do for golf, and then we have the general publications where we also do golf as well as all of our other attractions. We used to do a golf publication with Texas Monthly. Unfortunately, they cut that publication because it was in coordination with the office of the governor, and I think the budget there was a little bit cut.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so that publication went away, which is it's a shame because it gave us a lot of leads, a lot of people that were interested in destination as a golf destination and would give us a call.
And that was one of the things that I remember, Enola Posada had a very successful campaign with that they were, and this is where I was headed, because the question last month was, how can we incorporate your office also to sell a key element for the survival of this course without having it to be a burden to the city or the taxpayer, is to be self-sustaining.
Mhm.
And the biggest thing that I think we can do to do that is to have those corporate plans sold. And I wanted to see if your department can promote that part of it, because you're going into, I know we have economic development, I know we have Conventions Visitors Bureau, and I know that I wanted to incorporate all those departments to try and promote those corporate plans, because that's revenue that can be offset, that the cities can use for something else.
As a Convention and Visitors Bureau, the way that we're funded solely by hotel occupancy tax. No general fund goes into our budget,
Okay.
which means we can only promote outside of Laredo. That doesn't mean that we can't promote that, because we know that our traveler during the week, Monday through Friday, is mostly corporate and business traveler. So they're coming from out there.
Right.
Coming in. And so if those corporations that have their headquarters somewhere else are looking into this ad, they're probably gonna want to buy something for
Well,
their
and
visitors.
so it's a key point, because the reason I thought about you all is because since you deal with hotel motel, they are the ones that I think that La Posada got them once, and they had success with it, because they were offering, and I'm not sure it was, and I wanna be, and don't quote me on this, I think it was Texas Monthly. Bring your buddies, we'll take care of the golf.
Okay.
And so the hotel was very successful in doing that, so people came into Laredo, and they took care of the golf part of it. So, because everybody is you deal with all the hotels, that if the hotels can purchase those things as part of their thing, then we can go ahead and they can use that one more avenue of advertising on their behalf. Plus, we can piggyback on that advertising also, and say the hotels in Laredo, some of them are, here's a list of the ones that can offer you a free round of golf or whatever it is.
And it could be something that we can help you promote it with the hotels. La Posada works a little bit different than other hotels because they're an independent property.
Right.
So for them, it's
easier
to do that kind of promotion without having to go to the corporate and ask them. But we can, I mean, certainly, we're open to helping you promote the
Yeah.
information with the hoteliers.
Mhm.
And again, promoting that, for many years, we've been focused on the leisure traveler. And more, we see that we need to convert that business traveler into leisure too.
Mhm.
We can't forget about our business traveler, which is our bread and butter during the work week.
Yeah.
And so promoting in those publications that cater to that traveler with something like golf is definitely something.
That
We
does
still-
exist.
Yeah, we still promoted Texas Monthly. The publication that they have was specifically for golf. That's the one that went away. But we work with Texas Monthly, with Texas Highways, ARP, with, a large number of publications in the US as well as in Mexico, where we can promote those packages. I mean, I can see forwarding agents and custom brokers
Well,
buying
I was talking
packages
to,
too.
I'm sorry, what was her name from last month?
Veronica.
Veronica that came over here and she wanted, I told her that we need to promote with the Manufacturers Association, with the Transportation Association, with all these people, and we see them out there. We see them, I mean, but that they know, do they know that package exists? I'm not sure. And that's really what I need to push, because, whatever monies we save over here, that's just more money that stays back with the city. If we can be self-sufficient, and we were allowed to use those monies for whatever improvements we need to have over here, then that's really the way. My personal belief is that this course can be self-sustaining. And with a little bit of work and a little bit of cooperation from everybody, I really think this thing can sell itself once we get everybody involved in that push of selling and making sure that everybody knows that it exists.
Another way that we can help is if we're gonna package and we're gonna design and brand something for the outside, we can share all that with Dennis and the MAC so that they can use that to push it locally.
Okay.
So we can, we work
Yeah,
with
that's
Winter
right.
Texans, with so many
It's one
markets.
of our
Yeah.
most successful projects is
Yeah.
Winter Texans, and I've taken that Texas Golf Insider,
Uh-huh.
Mike and them invited me,
Yeah.
and I went to San Antonio, and I spoke on ESPN, I spoke that, but I gave them 3 giveaways. One is 2 hotel giveaways with La Posada, which they extended their package again or
Oh,
whatever.
good.
The way they buy the tickets from us. So that was good. We got 2 couples coming. But I also did what I did first over there. I'm gonna go pick up 10 golfers. They're gonna in November.
Yeah.
Every week they're gonna start announcing a winner, and then I'm gonna go pick them up, bring them, feed them, and take them back in the same day. But that's just like what had happened with the Winter Texans. You spread them out, and then they go in. They're just talking about the max, and before you know it, like the Winter Texans, 54 bus loads. 54-person bus.
And
So
we
it's
know that's our, advertising is good, but our best advertising we've seen is word of mouth.
Yeah.
Once they come here, once we get the visitor here, they love it, they just go out there.
And I want those to say, this is our dedicated weekend in the fall and in the spring, that we're gonna be doing that. It'll eventually get there, but, and that's good. That's really the way it's gonna work out. That busload, I've seen it.
Yeah.
They've been, those gentlemen have been coming here for a long time. But, I mean, if we can have more of those, then we're gonna have to start, which is a good thing, maybe where we're gonna put the buses.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
type of thinking. But, good, appreciate, yeah.
So we'll keep y'all posted on what we're doing, and, one of the elements of the rebranding, of course, is one of the attractions that we look, is the MAC, so it's definitely gonna be present in that, so we'll
Good.
keep you on.
I appreciate you. Thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for your help. Appreciate that. Next item is the project for beautification of the clubhouse. There was a couple of things that I had mentioned before, which made the sprinkler, or the misting system and/or the coverage of that wooden area. And I was thinking about it since I was there last week. As the sun goes down for the winter time, it's falling towards the southwest, further and further towards the southwest. The windows facing out there, if there's no, I think the intention was to cover the top part of it and absorb some of the heat. But now the heat's going through and pounding off the pavement there, going through your windows, and that's not good for your light bill at all.
Yeah.
So that's one of the reasons that I wanted to see if there was a dark mesh that we could be putting out there.
She's found some, so she's gonna get it.
I'm talking with Berman Rivera, he's in charge of the city, but he's the one that plants, like North Central Park, in charge of all the planting of, in the Canseco.
He's a horticulture
Okay, expert.
So I already showed him the picture of the wooden trellis. He's gonna give me what plants we should put there and when to, put out there and how
Yeah.
to take care of it and everything, so I'm working with him on that.
And as far as the heating, you showed me it's in screens that are
The shades
circular, they have
also.
little circular, so it doesn't block the view, but it keeps the heat out.
Exactly,
So-
so I'm gonna get a quote for that for next meeting. I should have
Okay.
the quote for those
If
shades.
if in fact it becomes a little bit too costly, the idea was, for me, I think it creates a little bit of cover
Mhm.
and a little bit of warmth for any plant that's gonna be an ivy-like,
Yeah.
that's gonna be up there. So any type of cover from the top that can filter out some of the heat that's
Mhm.
going on in there,
Yeah, he
that
was
might be
talking to
something to
me.
consider also.
Yeah. He was
If
telling
it
me he
doesn't
got
work
something
out.
to put up there.
Yeah.
For the shade and, yeah.
Right.
He's gonna give me all that information.
It also extends the porch area for people that want to sit out there. The beautiful days are coming up already. Who knows, maybe we can start doing that a little bit, planning for the upstairs to have that type of cover also, so that, people can sit up there. So the idea is to keep them there, and maybe not even, for golf sense, but for people that just want to go out and enjoy an afternoon out there would be something else that might be part of our master plan for that whole area.
We had our pooches and pints Sunday, so it was bring your pet, at 3 o'clock. We know nobody's gonna be out there because it's NFL Sunday, right?
Yeah.
So we're hoping to get the other market out there, but it did bring up some things. I mean, we took out our 50-inch televisions and put them on tables, but, you talked about maybe putting a little bit of the misting
The
system
misting
in the
system
thing,
out there.
and then maybe some TVs already out there.
You can have that or projection screens.
Yeah, well, the problem with
projector-
projectors is just the lighting.
The lighting. Oh,
But,
that's right.
I mean, to have them there and all that, and, have their own little satellite for that little area.
Yeah.
And now you got the NFL, and with the weather getting better,
Yeah.
so just something, just to
Yeah,
try.
anything that we can do. We live in Laredo, like I tell everybody, we live in Laredo. So anything you can do to accommodate, and we know the heat's gonna be there, but if we can accommodate and not let the heat be the problem why people are not getting in there, then it just take a little bit of strategic type of thinking, that we can keep that place available and at least, tolerable, in the summer months, so that people can stay there and use it as much as they can. So that might be something to consider. Okay. Anything else, any other ideas from anybody on that issue? The monthly report of the maintenance fairways and greens.
It's in your packet, no?
Yeah.
Mhm,
In the
yeah.
packet.
We could read over it if you'd like. I don't know if we have time for that, but, like I said, unfortunately, Tom.
Yeah, this
that
is
was
Tom's.
Yeah, this is Tom's little, report he gave us. And he talks about how the course survived a normally hot
Yeah.
and dry summer with no loss of turf or major issues. Irrigation, central control, and satellites all in working order, no issues at this time. The whole course was recently fertilized on September 9th. 24/6/12 is what he put on there. It's 2% iron prior to last week's rain and has greened up significantly. That's the green you were talking about, Rick.
Mhm.
The cooling weather for the next 2 months should be conducive for growing good turf and recovery time from the summer stress months. Here he's talking about the greens. We recently aerated with a 1/2-inch diameter hollow tine, double verticut to relieve compaction and reduce thatch. Aeration, what they do is they poke the holes, oxygen gets to the root, it just makes it stronger. Full recovery is about 2 weeks. This process allows the green better absorption of oxygen, water, nutrients, and pore space vital to healthy roots and a sustainable quality putting surface. And also incorporated the process was a 1/4 of nitrogen fertilizer. Revolver, which is what he's been working on now, and this will help us into the fall and really help us more in the spring when you add the revolver and the herbicide.
Yeah.
Now it's what really helps. Was made to greens last week to holes 1, 4, 6, 9, 10, and that's where we saw a little bit of the cracked grass come out this year.
Oh, yeah.
One got really bad, really good, really bad, all like within weeks, and it's just he's been working on it.
Gone.
Yeah, it's gone almost. Teas fertilized on September 9th with 1 pound of nitrogen. Spot spraying and weed activity with tributotal, another chemical he uses. Fairways were fertilized on September 9th, again with 1 pound of nitrogen. Rough fertilized on September 9th with 1 pound of nitrogen. And this is what you'll see is going into the winter. A lot of people start saying, hey, you guys are leaving the rough too thick. But what he does is November, December, he lets it thicken up a little bit because it's going to stop growing.
Yeah.
So that you're not left with bare spots in, January, February, and going
Right.
into March. So it's kind of consistent throughout the winter. So it's something he likes to do. But we've had complaints of, hey, I can't find my ball, and just wait, it's gonna thin out just because
Yeah.
the weather's gonna
Yeah.
affect it.
Find more fairways.
Find more fairways. Yeah, I wish I could have it like little signs, boom, you know, or the bunker, don't go in.
Encourage you to find more
Find more
fairways.
fairways, man. They're great. Take a
Because
lesson.
If you hook on number 3,
Yeah.
you'll stay there, you won't roll well.
Exactly. So that's
No, it
a-
helps a lot.
Oh, you've been trying to cut the corners there, Bob.
I like that thinking.
pros and
I like that,
Yeah.
use it to your advantage.
Yep. Here's upcoming course maintenance programs, events, cultural practices, fertilization spray program. Course will be fertilized again in October. Pre-em, that's the pre-emergent that we talk about. That's kind of really for the fall. Application of spectacles. Herbicide made in mid-October for suppression of weeds, and POA annual bluegrass invasion of dormant winter Bermuda grass. And then aeration of tees and fairways and rough in early November. So that's when we'll do the whole course, you know.
Yeah.
And he doesn't do the thick plug, so, you know, maybe a week and a half, it's all gone. But it's something that, you know, some customers get aggravated, but it's like, it's for the good of the course.
Right.
And unfortunately, it's just something we have to
Let
do.
me ask you this, so that you don't have to go through
Yeah.
the whole process here.
Mhm.
Does he have is this something he has to write every month?
No, well, that's something he wants to write every
Okay,
like,
good.
he's in the process of it. It's something that him and
Because
I
it's gotta
talk-
be repetitive after here comes the fall, we
So
can
we
expect
could,
it.
yeah, we could do a quarterly one for you
Yeah.
all, because it's kind of what we talk about, but we ride around and we play golf because, you know, I get to, well, what's that, Tom?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, because on a piece of paper sometimes, you don't
No,
see
no,
it.
but it creates that little chemistry between
Mhm.
both of you and
Mhm.
understanding the way it works. And then
Exactly.
we also get to do that so that when we get, people pull us out, aside and say, what are you guys doing?
Mhm.
Because everybody's gonna wanna be an expert at doing this. and
Yes.
We can always refer and sound smarter by reading this kind of stuff.
So just, I know, right, 1 pound of nitrogen.
You want me to tell you about the herbicides we use? These are-
Exactly.
It's a good cocktail party conversation.
Exactly. But this is where Tom, we were kind of talking about the general capital contribution stuff and all that crap.
Yeah.
Sorry, all that stuff. Issues and concerns. Immediate need to replace current rough mower and riding greens mower not on the current lease agreement. Rest of the equipment comes off current lease in August 2020. So just like our carts, they have kind of some equipment that's on lease. So it's gonna come off 2020, but he's got some stuff that's been around since I think the growing stage. He's got a mower, greens mower. So just in parts and labor that we do to fix it, it'd be more cheaper or it'd be less expensive for us to get a new one, put it on a lease. It's gonna come in a year early, but we just got rid of something that was on our lease. It goes off in October.
Mhm.
So the cost of it would almost be simultaneous, and us just saying, well, you know what, we're gonna save these $350. Let's just turn it around and get you the rough mower. It's gonna make it more efficient. We're not gonna be buying parts every month and have it down and have the mechanic working on it 6 hours every 2 weeks because,
Yeah.
and he can focus on sharpening blades and stuff to keep the guys going.
Right.
So we're gonna move into that. We already talked to kind of Coach Gomez about it, so we're
Okay.
excited. He's excited. You know, he feels that we're listening, so that's always good.
That's always good,
Mhm.
yes.
So
Our first
So you are
priority-
gonna move forward with this?
Our first priority to get him is the one for the rough, the blade.
Yeah.
The rough
blades,
mower?
The
Yes.
rough blades, the rough mower.
yeah,
We're gonna work on
he
that.
said the one that we currently have, it's almost ancient.
The greens mower I thought they had gotten that a couple of years ago, or it's already under
The
replacement?
walking ones,
I don't know if that's.
Yeah,
what-
I misspoke. I said greens mower, but the rough mower is the one he wants more.
But
And
that's-
then the greens mower, we'll probably be able to jump on it like July, right? Maybe 2 months before. And maybe even in March, let's just see what John Deere does. Because sometimes they'll just say, you know what, just swap it out.
Yeah.
And your payment's going to stay the same. Or it's up $12, but we'll
Okay.
take it off early.
And it-
Kind of like they did with the golf
In,
carts.
in order of importance, speaking with Tom, we met with last week, said, look, let's do this one first, and then we can hold on to the green mowers a little bit longer, and then we hopefully turn of the year, we'll try and get
Yeah.
those around.
Good.
So
Yeah, because we have walking mowers. The only problem with walking mowers, it takes more labor.
More labor and more
So-
time.
and more
Yeah.
time. So
Like to be efficient and
Mhm.
get them out of there as soon as possible, or they're gonna be doing it
Mhm.
first thing in the morning.
hmm So he just wanted to kind of let us know what's going on there. So that's probably what we're going to do moving,
Okay.
probably as soon as October 1st.
Good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Anything else on this issue?
That's it.
No. Items for next meeting, we'll continue to have let's break it down into bullet points. Anything that anybody in this committee wants to hear about?
Okay, Ruth, one will be the bunkers. We have the slide presentation. I think I'll be able to use that.
Okay.
Just so that we can, since winter's coming, that gives us a little bit of downtime, so that gives us a chance to, and Coach and I have spoken about it, maybe doing some, and we've done 3 tests. We did one where we bought a new attachment to our raker, and it's made the bunkers more playable, but it is bringing up rocks. I mean, you guys go out there every once in a while. So, and then you've seen the ones on 9 that have the Z-line carpet system. I mean, those are beautiful, but they're hard. Right? It's hard to, but they're awesome. But they cost a lot of money. And Tom will have all the pricing for us and everything. Then the ones that we've done on 17, he did the ones on the fairway right closer to the green.
Yeah.
Those have been through, I think, 29 inches of rain so far, and they've held up as good as the Z-line.
Yeah.
So it's something to take into consider and saying, okay, well, it's going to cost X amount of money, but it's probably going to be good for the next 10, 15 years and not have to invest so much money into it.
Is it just hard to keep sand in those bunkers?
Well, what originally happened was that we're one of the few golf courses ever built that has a lot of irrigation by the green. So usually they're called green. You have a green sprinkler for the green, and we have a green and a collar sprinkler. So both of those were hitting the bunkers for 3 years before anybody, till Tom came and was able to say, well, a lot of it has to do that it's like if it's raining 80 inches a year because the bunkers are getting hit twice every night. And then
compacting.
so it starts compacting. All the sand goes to the bottom. It gets contaminated with all the other soil, and then it's never done. It never looks the same. So if you'll see the pictures where the sand looks really nice on those other two, and you can see where the other one looks already more clayish.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, there's going to be 3 options that we can take, and hopefully, we can all come in agreement. And might have to, talk to our council members or something.
Well, I think the other first thing we need to do is strategize about that because, Jay, I heard there was, at the beginning when this course was done, the way I guess the revenues that came out of this course there was going to be an allocation of some funds for bunkers and maintenance of bunkers and all that. And I think to date, in speaking to Dennis, I don't think they don't know how it can come back. So where those monies, if we can look into how it's divided or how they break down the revenue that gets into the city coffers, how they can use that money for either capital improvement or unless there's a bunker fund out there. I'm not sure how to tap into that, but that just goes so that, because I know right now you're gonna go into budget, and I kinda wanted to see what those budget numbers look like in this meeting so that we can give you some suggestions, obviously, going into the budget hearings. But I need to find out even, hopefully next month, get us what the actual budget is for the course and figure in on how we're gonna, I guess, strategically use those monies that are available to them. But I know this was a fund that was in there. I'm not sure how or when it was decided not to bring it back or how to tap into it so that those monies can come back for this use. Maybe we can help Dennis out in finishing up the rest of the bunkers with that money.
Okay. Let me.
I'm not sure if it's called a bunker fund. I don't even know.
I think it's, you're referring to the dollar fee that we charge.
The dollar fee?
That's a capital contribution.
Oh, the capital contribution.
Yeah, so that's what we can.
The thing about that is that it once it goes, and that's a very important point. Once, and my experience with I guess municipalities and working on these budgets throughout the committees around that I worked around here, is that very important that you earmark and you really say what the monies are going to be used for, because I think once it goes into your general fund, it's very difficult to bring it back out. So that every time that it goes into the specific account that it's supposed to go to, so that way when you request them, that those monies are readily available in there. Instead of, because once it goes into the general revenue fund, in there, it can be used, they're thinking, if you can imagine, this is going for whatever's out there in the city. And if it was never allocated for this other deal, you're probably not gonna get them back. But even if it's not there, then we can start saying from this point on, we need to have those monies available in there. And again, I think the theory here is so that we can become as self-sufficient as possible as we move forward, so that this thing can grow on its own, and the monies that it makes, we can reinvest them and use them as needed. And then obviously getting the money that belongs to the city, get that money that belongs to them, but not to tap into these funds.
Well, I'll look into that. Well, I'm writing down for Kevin, so we can write it down. We'll put in you want the budget, what the budget would be for
What the budget would be for the upcoming year.
And look into the capital
fiscal
improvement
year,
contribution.
and then that, those funds that we're looking at right now, where they're at.
Capital improvement,
The,
contribution fee.
Yeah, and anything, because anytime that we wanna do, with a discussion for projections for what we're gonna do for the clubhouse, then he's gonna have to ask you, and you're gonna have to go ask for monies over there
Right.
for that, from general revenue. And that's gonna be, they're gonna fight you tooth and nail over that one. So, but if it already belongs to the golf course, then you'd say, no, we're just wanna work off our savings over here
Right.
and what we have. And I think it'll make it a smooth transition. So, in essence, what we're gonna talk about is, if, again, staff has to be obviously all on board with this, but my suggestion was for that equipment area that we're talking about, that's gonna make another 8 lots for those guys. I just thought that at the beginning, going into the entrance of the golf course, it can become an eyesore. And so, if they give you a better, bigger location, and then they can move everything over there, and they can do that and beautify that area with houses or whatever they're gonna do, then that might be an idea to look into. If it's not feasible,
Yeah.
then it's not feasible.
Yeah.
Right? So it might be something you should consider. And then you wanna bring a report on that then next month, that's fine. Anything else from anybody? Is that pretty much it? Well, thank you all for coming.
Next meeting is, what day is the next meeting?
It's lined up, I think it's October 15th, if I'm not mistaken, or 13th.
The 13th, Ruthie?
I'll tell you right now.
Is it a Wednesday?
It's a Wednesday.
Yeah, it's October 16th at noon. I have it here.
October 16th?
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I got you.
Okay, thanks a lot, everybody. Thank you, JJ.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dennis.
Yes, sir.
Ruth, thank you all. Thank you for coming.